Hello, this is a continuation of Unfortunately for Society, Izuku is a Khanivore. Written by LouieTheDragon. Read by Stick. Chapter 10. What would you say if I asked you to lose tonight's match? Fuck off. Summary. Healthy talks about relationships. Sans the murder. When morning came, Izuku felt like he was hit by a truck. And when his memories caught up to him, he wished he was. 3 Friends' group chat. Yesterday, 11:54 p.m. Zuko Light. What the fuck? Eyebags. Oop, he never swears. But I have to agree, so what the fuck? Today, 9:12 a.m. Green bean. Green bean. Surprise? Izuku bit his lip in nervousness. He just started to have friends, but he managed to fuck that up too. Before he can dig too deep into those thoughts, his phone dinged. Today, 9:15 a.m. Eyebags. We gotta talk after we make it out of the hospital. Zuko Light. I agree. Green bean. Where? Like, where do y'all want to meet? Today, 9:17 a.m. Eyebags. Honestly, I kinda want to relive just what the fuck happened, but like, slowly paced. So at that trashed up beach, Dagaba or something? Green bean. Sure. Eyebags. And one more thing. Eyebags changes Green Bean's name to Grinlim Bean. Grinlim Bean. I deserve that. Zuko Light. Yes, you did. They eventually picked a time in the afternoon of the following day. After Todoroki and Shinso were released from the supervision of the heroes. Izuku got there early, too nervous to have been on time. He let his shoulders loosen slightly when the sea breeze flowed over his shoulders. Yet he still wrung his hands together as he sat on the sand in the clearer part of the trashed beach. He waited there for a while, using his hands to draw in the sand. His knees were tucked into his chest, with his arms wrapped around them in a fetal position. He looked up when he heard 2 pairs of footsteps coming his way. Both boys stopped about 7 feet away. They looked at each other in what seemed to be a silent conversation, before Todoroki took a step forward. Izuku lowered his head as Todoroki said, "Before I found Stain, I was frantically looking for the right location sent to me by Shinso." He stopped, looking like he was remembering something. "I think I blocked it out and how frantic I was, but..." He stopped and clenched his eyes shut. Shinso stepped forward and put a hand on his shoulder. "It's okay. Don't push yourself too hard." Todoroki put his hand on Shinso's and continued. "There were 2 dead bodies beside you, Midoriya. 2 mostly eaten bodies." Izuku saw Shinso stiffen. Todoroki started again. "Now I'm not about to accuse you of befriending us to murder us." Izuku lifted his head, unshed tears glistening in his eyes. No, why would I?" Todoroki gently held his hand up in a shush motion. "Because when I found you, you didn't notice me until I was just out of your vision." The hand he was holding out faltered a bit. "I was there for about 2 minutes before that." Todoroki looked to be on the verge of losing it. "You were covered in blood. So much blood. He hiccuped. "I looked at you and thought you looked familiar, but..." He didn't finish. Izuku's breath hitched, eyes wide, and he held his hands to his mouth. Todoroki went on. You were just eating, and you had this look on your face. He gestured helplessly. There was no disgust or anything other than what you were doing. He hiccuped. You even looked like you took pleasure in what you were doing. When you finally noticed me, you jumped onto me, pinning me to the ground. I felt so scared, Izuku. That hand that was held out was shaking as he clenched his fist. You were feral. I don't know how else to describe it. There was blood all over you. It was like I was mindless. Izuku took a deep breath. I know. I remember. It was like I was being shoved into the backseat of my mind. Todoroki sank to his knees, and Izuku looked at Shinso and held his hands out, before getting up from his seated position and walking over to where Todoroki was shaking. He got onto his knees next to him. This isn't the first time it's happened to me, though, he said, as he gently put his left hand on Todoroki's right shoulder. The first time this happened, actually, was when my mother came home from the store, and both boys snapped their heads up to look at him, wide-eyed. Izuku raised his hands and waved them back and forth in a placating manner, and a sheepish smile on his face. No, don't worry, she's fine. I just scared her a bit. They relaxed at that. He continued, but it's not exactly something I can control. I've been suppressing this power for 15 years, so my actions to all these things are amplified for a while. The two harshly sucked in a breath. But I think it was a bit of a good thing, because, well, you saw what was happening, Todoroki. A few moments passed, and Shinso spoke up. I never got to thank you for saving my life. So basically, after you found me, I was, high? And, a blush reddened his cheeks. Both of you mean a lot to me, so that was probably why I was acting like a hyperactive cat. So when you got taken by that Nomu, I wasn't about to let anything touch you after what had just happened. Silence. Then, a hysterical cackle came from Shinso unexpectedly. Is that what that was? I thought it was kinda cute, he blurted, before a dark blush flooded his cheeks and he snapped his mouth shut. Todoroki, whose cheeks had also tinged pink, said, I thought it was rather cute as well. Instead of just his cheeks, Izuku's face lit up bright red. Todoroki, with some tears still falling, smiled a little. Afterwards, they couldn't figure out if you were a person or a quirked animal. That startled a laugh out of Izuku. It was chime-like, and soothing to both the other boys' ears. Shinso could see that the gentleness was back, and that it wasn't just a fluke. He silently let out a sigh of relief at the revelation. The three of them talked about nothing for a few hours, until the sun started to set, and all three of them expressed their acceptance of using each other's first names. They soon got up to leave, and Izuku hugged both the other boys. I'm sorry both of you had to see me like that, he mumbled. Shoto shrugged helplessly, not quite knowing how to hug back. It was bound to happen at one point. Izuku grimaced. Yes, well, I was hoping it wasn't under circumstances like that. All three boys were eventually smiling as they went their separate ways.